Welcome to the Gay Therapy LA podcast, the show that empowers gay men to live their fullest, healthiest lives. Whether you're navigating relationships, mental health, intimacy, finances, career, or personal growth, Ken Howard, a licensed clinical social worker in California, certified psychiatric social worker, and ASEC certified sex therapist, is here to guide you with over 30 years of experience, specializing in gay male individuals, couples, and polycules. As the founder of GayTherapyLA.com and GayCoachingLA.com. And now, today's episode.
Hi, I'm Ken Howard, and welcome to the Gay Therapy LA podcast. Today, I want to talk about gay men as adult children of alcoholics, how the past still talks in the present. There's a phrase that gets thrown around in recovery circles that says, if it's hysterical, it's historical. Meaning, if your emotional reaction feels out of proportion to what's happening in the moment, you might be reacting to something much older and deeper and unresolved. For many gay men, especially those who are adult children of alcoholics, we'll say ACA, the present is cluttered with echoes from a childhood that was confusing, chaotic, or emotionally neglectful. The bottles may be gone, the parent may even be long deceased, but the residue of growing up in an alcoholic home lingers. In our relationships, our anxiety, our sexuality, and even our sense of identity. I've worked with thousands of gay men over my 33-year career in 2025 as a psychotherapist, as a specialist for gay men, and as a life and career and relationship coach, and now as a ASEC certified sex therapist. And it's striking how often this background comes up. Many guys don't initially identify as ACAs. Instead, they come in with complaints like, I keep dating guys who treat me badly, or I feel like I can't ever relax, or I have a hard time trusting anyone, or I'm successful, but I always feel like a fraud, or I'm always waiting for the other shoe to drop. These aren't just anxiety or intimacy issues. Often they're adaptations, smart, functional adaptations to a childhood where unpredictability was the norm. The gay icon Liza Minnelli and her half-sister Lorna Luff, of singers and actresses, have both described in books or on talk shows that when they were little, they would come home from school and have to suss out whether their mother, the original gay icon, Judy Garland, was going to be fine or on the warpath because she was drunk or otherwise intoxicated. They lived in a frequent state of anxiety and having to work around this during their whole childhoods, even if it was at other times fabulous, as they describe. The famous examples like that help us to understand some of these family dynamics for us just plain folks. And this is why stories from famous people can be validating for us, because they show what can happen to people and families, and their stories validate others all over the country or the world. It's like Christina Crawford and Mommy Dearest, her book, and later the campy movie about Joan Crawford, who could be physically abusive to her children, especially when drunk. Bing Crosby was rumored to be the same way. Adult children of alcoholics are a global community of people who share remarkably similar experiences, even as different time eras, genders, sexual orientations, races, ethnicities, and cultures across the world. So what makes a gay ACA experience different? There are overlapping traits among all adult children of alcoholics: hypervigilance, fear of abandonment, difficulty setting boundaries, perfectionism, people-pleasing. But for gay men, these are filtered through a cultural lens of minority stress, internalized homophobia, and a lifetime of microaggressions and marginalization. You didn't just grow up afraid of dad coming home drunk. You may have also grown up afraid of being found out as gay, fearing rejection not only for who your parent was, but also for who you were becoming. And this dual vulnerability often intensifies the impact of them both. So gay ACAs often had to manage multiple secrets, the don't talk rule about the alcoholic family dynamic, and the don't tell rule about their sexual orientation. That double bind of silence, of self-censorships, can leave lasting scars. The don't talk rule can be especially prominent in Anglo families. In the United States, we too often think that white or Anglo families don't have a culture because they are the dominant culture. But part of what characterizes Anglo families like mine is that we don't talk about things. There is a formality in the air, even if your family is not like Downton Abbey, which embodies the extremes of well-off Anglo families, in that case British, but many American Anglo families are like that too. Other ethnicities have their own versions of family rules about what is talked about and what isn't, with some variations. The result of these factors on the ACA is a highly attuned, deeply intelligent adult who is constantly scanning the environment for threat, constantly shape-shifting to be liked, and often unsure of what he actually wants or needs. Let's talk about therapy for gay ACAs: depth, safety, and playing the long game. In therapy, we don't just focus on fixing behaviors like people-pleasing or self-sabotage. We explore their origins. We ask, where did you learn that your needs were less important? Who taught you that love had to be earned by being good or quiet or useful? We might bring in attachment theory to understand why you might avoid closeness or cling to it with desperation. We use psychodynamic insight to explore patterns. Cognitive behavioral tools help identify the distorted thinking that grew in the petri dish of a chaotic home. For some clinicians, somatic work can help track the anxiety in your body that you've carried for decades. And when you're gay, these therapeutic conversations need to be culturally fluent. A therapist with deep experience in gay men's issues understands the context: coming out, hookup culture, chosen family, sex shame, body image pressure, and the deep longing many gay men have to be both seen and safe. I'm not just talking about someone who affirms your identity. I'm talking about a clinician who gets the nuances. A newer therapist, even one specializing in gay men, may not have the clinical mileage to detect the subtler layers. How your fear of confrontation ties back not only to a drunk parent's rage, but also to being bullied in high school. Or how your avoidance of sex with your long-term partner connects to unprocessed trauma, not just boredom in the present day. And after 33 years, I can see these threads quickly, and together we work gently, intentionally to untangle them. Let's talk about coaching for gay ACAs, goals and strategies in the present tense. So coaching offers a slightly different lens. If therapy is about treating a diagnosable psychiatric disorder, even a milder one, coaching assumes no diagnosable condition, but they both focus on coming to terms with oneself and building for a better future, even if your past was fraught with challenges or even traumas. But both focus on improving your immediate quality of life. So in therapy and coaching, we might work on developing dating boundaries without guilt, building assertive communication skills, navigating polyamory without falling into old people-pleasing traps, creating routines that support nervous system self-regulation, identifying professional self-sabotage patterns and replacing them with confident action. I talk a little bit about professional self-sabotage patterns and replacing them with confidence in my course, my webinar course on the Thinkific platform called Starting Your Own Business, a guide for gay men, because lots of gay men in today's economy are freelancers, and that course teaches you how to escape from working for an organization or a corporation and to have your own business doing something, and how you get that off the ground. And it's a combination of the cognitive and feeling emotionally ready and confident, combined with lots and lots of practical tips. So if you're interested in that, it's on the thinkific.com education platform. But the work that we do is practical, it's action-oriented. It's especially helpful for gay men who feel stuck in their story and they want to start writing a new chapter in their lives. For many of my clients, it can be true that the second half of their life will be better than the first, even as we age. I work with a lot of guys a few years on either side of age 40 at midlife when we really kind of take stock. What was right and good and just fine about the first roughly half of our lives that we want to keep? And what was not so great that we want to stop here at midlife and say, okay, moving forward, no more of that. Or whatever was going on in our family of origin. If we want to keep some of it, that's great. We want to keep certain traditions and certain values. In other cases, we're going to let that apple fall far from the tree and say enough. Some kind of generational dysfunction stops with me, and I'm going to play out the second half of my life way better than the first half ever was. Let's do a self-check. Are you a gay ACA? You don't need a diagnosis. It's being an adult child of an alcoholic is not really a diagnosis. It's more of a conceptual understanding. But if you're unsure, let's look at some prompts. Do you find yourself needing to control situations or people in order to feel safe? Do you struggle to identify your own needs or preferences? Do you fear abandonment, even in stable relationships? Do you swing between caretaking and resentment? Do you sometimes feel emotionally younger than your chronological age? Are you drawn to men who are emotionally unavailable, like straight men or guys in not open relationships? So if so, with any of these, you're not broken. You're probably just carrying patterns that worked in childhood for survival, but now they get in your way as an adult. When you grow up, there is a new sheriff in town. The same strategies that can work when you're a kid do not work when you have the adult prerogative. And sometimes we grow up without us even noticing, but then here we are. We don't really know we're aging until we see it in the mirror. So let's say that healing is possible. Gay men who are adult children of alcoholics carry a unique intersection of challenges, but also strengths. You had to be observant and adaptive and resilient in order to survive. And our work helps you remember what you had to do, but it also helps you build what you choose to do now. And working with someone who has, decades of experience, who has seen every permutation of the gay male experience, helps you to get to the heart of things just faster. And you deserve that. So let's talk. I offer online therapy for California residents and coaching worldwide. And you can schedule a free 15-minute consult, Ken at gaytherapyla.com, or call, or preferably text, 310-339-5778. That's 310-339-5778 in the United States. I think you had an 01 if you're calling from outside the United States. And, there's more. There are other podcast episodes, if this is the first one you're hearing, and certainly hundreds of blog articles at both gaytherapyla.com/blog and gaycoachingla.com/blog. So 2 different websites for the 2 different services that I offer. Your childhood was only the first chapter in your life, but let's write the rest of your story on your terms. Thanks. I'll see you next time.